Hello everybody, today I'm doing a video in time for St. Patrick's Day and continuing with my door wreath. I looked online, I saw a lot of patterns for some really great awesome shamrocks, but I wanted something that would be a bit stiff and large to hold up, so I ended up making my own pattern that I'm going to share today. Today I'm just going to focus on this medium-sized shamrock, and it's going to be using some Tunisian crochet techniques. However, you don't really need to have any kind of special hooks or equipment. For once, I have actually printed off my pattern, so if this is something that you are looking for, take a screenshot. I'm not really sure how I could put that online, so leave your comments if you know how to do that. So we're going to start off with some yarn. I'm making some big shamrocks for my wreath so they can be seen from the path. So I'm using double yarn. I made a cake, so I'll be taking yarn from the side and from the center pull. Normally, if you want to have a lot of drape, you'll want to use a big hook, but I am just using a 6mm standard crochet hook because I want them to be stiff and to hold up their shape. And we have a yarn needle. And you may also want to use a stitch marker and scissors for when it is all done. So getting started here, I have to find my ends of my yarn. So I have my center pull end. Let's see. There we go. And I'm also going to take yarn from the side. There we go. Let's get that untangled. We are going to start with our slip knot. So if you're just using normal yarn, normal weight yarn, don't get confused. I'm just going to hold two together and use it as a bulky yarn. So we wrap around and behind, pull the loop through. You don't need a particularly long tail thread on this. So starting here with the instructions, we're going to chain 2, 5 single crochet in the second chain from hook. One, 2. Here's my first chain for my hook. Here's my second. So working into that, I'm going to do 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That completes round number 1. Number 2, 2 single crochet and 4 stitches, 1 in the next. Yeah, I don't like weaving in my ends unless I have to. So in this case, I'm going to take my end. I'm just going to hold it up here so I'm kind of covering up as I go. So 2 single crochets in that stitch, 2 single crochets. And all along, I'm just kind of hiding this tail in here. 2 in here, so that's the third one. 2 in the fourth stitch. And only 1 in the fifth. And the reason for that is sometimes the slip stitch where I'm going to join here kind of takes up more space than having one there. It's sort of like a half stitch. So here we go. Our next set of instructions is slip stitch in the next stitch of row 2. So this was our row number 2. I'm going to do a slip stitch. CH4, chain 4. Now you don't want to make these too tight. 2, 3, 4. Now the last one, you definitely want to make sure you do not pull it too tight. So I'm just holding on to it a bit here because we're going to work into that. A chain stitch has this front braid, And on the back, you have your bottom loops. So for the next couple of stitches, we're going to be inserting our hook into here. These are the back loops. So the first one is right here. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So working in the back, in the bottom of the chain stitches, insert hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. We're going to do that in each of the chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert in the same stitch as the slip stitch of round 2. Right here. Now we're going to yarn over. This is called the return pass. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And we're just going to keep yarning over, pulling through 2 loops until there's only 1 loop left. Now we're going to Tunisian reverse stitch in 4 stitches, or in the 4 stitches here. So from the back, I'll show you first. Tunisian stitch, you have these front vertical bars, but you also have them in the back, right here. So I'm actually going to be inserting my hook into these back vertical bars. Yarn over, pull up a loop. But remember, we want to keep sort of the yarn out of the way here. So insert, yarn over, pick up a loop. The next one is right here. Yarn over, pick up a loop. You can also think of it as going in between the front and the back vertical bars, but from the behind. So if you can't see them on the back, take your hook here, move it forward, and just go behind these 2 bars. Or this bar. I'm using 2 strands, so you go in behind. And we have to do the 4th one here. Now we're going to insert the hook into the same stitch as the previous slip stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Now I see I made a little mistake here because I don't proofread too often, so I forgot to put in the yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we're going to just do our standard return pass. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to Tunisian reverse stitch bind off. So again, working from the back, we're going to insert our hook between the vertical bars, but in behind, and we're going to complete a slip stitch. Insert from behind, complete a slip stitch, and chain 2. Now we're going to insert our hook into the bottom bump of our chain 2, yarn over, pick up, and do it on the next one, yarn over and pick up. Then we're going to Tunisian reverse stitch in the 2 remaining stitches. So we're going to skip the 2 that we kind of binded off here, and we're going to go into these 2 here. And here we're doing Tunisian reverse stitch instead of Tunisian knit stitch or Tunisian simple stitch, because I want the leaves of the shamrock or the 4-leaf clover to stay straight. In Tunisian crochet, the other stitches do have a tendency to kind of curl up. Now we're going to find the next stitch of round 2, which is right here. I'm going to insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. And then our standard return pass, yarn over and go through 2. And we're going to repeat that. So we're going to do a Tunisian reverse stitch in each stitch. And there's 4 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to insert the hook in the same spot as the previous one time. And that's going to complete up this leaf, but we have to bring our yarn back down to here. So we're going to do a reverse Tunisian reverse stitch bind off. So we're just going to go in from behind, in between the 2 vertical bars, and just slip stitch our way down. Now when we get to the end, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch of row 2. And we're just going to repeat this for 4 leaves total. So go back up to row 3, round 3. Chain 4. Remember, don't make the chains too tight. If it is too tight, just undo the last one and redo it. I'm going to pick up a loop from the bottom of each chain stitch, yarn over and drop a loop. And we're going to insert the hook into the same spot as last time. Now I am not using a stitch marker here, but if you are having trouble remembering where to insert your hook each time, this is where you'd want to be putting it. Here we'll Tunisian reverse stitch. We're going to insert the hook into the same one as last time. Now, half of the leaf is done. The next time we're going to be inserting into the next stitch. First, we're going to bind off 2 stitches to make our little dip. 1, 2, and we're going to chain 2 to bring it back up. Yarn over and drop a loop. Yarn over, drop another loop, and then we have to continue back down with our reversed stitches. So this time we're going into here. And a return pass, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now to finish this leaf, we need to come back down to our beginning circle. And we're going to reverse slip stitch them for our bind off. Now for the next time when we start yarn 3, it starts with slip stitch in the next stitch of row 2. We can move over our slip marker. So the circle is part of round 2. This is where we're going to be inserting. Slip stitch. Chain 4. Yarn over and drop a loop from each of these chain stitches. And we have to attach it to our base by inserting in that marked stitch. And we're going to work our way back up. Yarn over and pull through 2. Reverse Tunisian stitch. Insert into that marked stitch. Now we're going to move over to our next stitch of round 2. So we were in here, now we're going to this one. You can see these ones attach into here. This one's the next one over. So we're going to bind off 2 stitches and chain 2. Now in this case I have pulled too tight and it's going to be hard for me to get in here. So easy enough, we'll just undo that last stitch, redo it a bit looser. One of the things I absolutely love about crocheting is that when you make those mistakes, they are generally easy to fix, or at least easy to unravel. The fixing requires the learning part, and that can take a few tries. I'm not sure if you've seen my video for my wreath, but it had hearts on it for Valentine's Day. So I'm not sure if my next one will be Easter themed or just spring themed. Or maybe life will get busy and we'll have to pick up the wreaths again later. And as simple as that, we have finished 3 of our 4 leaves. Now if you want to a 3-leaf clover, you could end it here, although it would kind of look a little bit weird with all that space on the bottom. So instead of having 11 stitches in your second round, you'd probably just want to have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 9 stitches total. And we're going to start the next leaf, so we move over 1 stitch. We start with doing a slip stitch in there. 2, 3, 4. And just like that, we have finished off our lucky 4 leaves. But we still need to make a bit of a stem on here. So for the stem, we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch right here. I'm going to chain 7. Beginning with the second chain stitch from your hook, slip stitch and each chain stitch. Now for this, if you really didn't like having to go into your back loop, you can just go in your normal one. Most people, they usually insert around here, and that will be fine. I can use the practice of going into the back loop because I'm one of those people that does find it a bit frustrating, but it's only going to be 6. we go. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And then we're going to fasten off. Now for finishing, this is not going to be used on any kind of clothes or accessory or bags or anything like that, so I don't need to be overly careful. I've already kind of taken in the first end earlier. So this is our back side. I'm going to thread the needle, pull it through some stitches. And generally when I come back through, I like to catch the yarn and go through it a bit to make it extra secure. And there you have it. We have our 4-leaf shamrock, 4-leaf clover. And I will actually correct my little mistake here. So in row 4, we insert the hook into the same stitch as the previous slip stitch. Yarn over, pull up loop. And thank you for joining me today. Feel free to leave any comments or questions. Subscribe or follow. Seeing the numbers keeps me motivated to keep making more videos. And if you have any suggestions of things that you'd like to make or see a pattern of, certainly let me know. I always like some new ideas.